I am recording. Yeah, we
Yeah,
did it.
yeah.
Yes. Look,
I
we both.
never. Wait, you have a tattoo on your arm?
Yeah, I do. Yeah,
I've never noticed that. What did that say?
it's my son's birthday in Roman numerals.
Oh, that's
Yeah,
pretty badass, dude. Okay.
I know. Look, at we both have different like background kind of now.
Yeah, I just noticed it's uneven. That kind of messes with me.
That is an issue. Maybe is your camera tilted?
Is it?
Maybe. Well, I mean,
Oh
I
well.
got, and just so you know, I'm open for business. I got open sign.
Oh
It's coming
yeah.
off on the recording backwards because Discord, but
It's
uh,
not backwards, is it?
no, it's not. But on Discord, it shows up that way, but because
I
it's
fuck,
flipped.
dude.
But that's okay. You'll be
Neep,
fine.
neep, Nepo.
Yeah, Nepo.
And then you got a new mic too.
I do have a new mic. Yes, it's red. It glows red. Um, it's one of the HyperX Quadcast ones. Has
RGB everywhere.
kinda, and then I think it has a couple other settings. I think that's stereo. You can like hear me over here, and
Yeah.
then the oh wow, I don't know what this does. Yeah, I think it's like to the side kinda, and
Oh,
then
like condenser, right? Yeah.
yeah, something like that. I think this is the cardioid. Is it the cardioid?
Cardioid is the best setting.
This is the cardioid, the one that I'm going to be using,
Yeah,
and
best
then
setting overall.
this is omni. I don't know, omnidirectional maybe. I think it is. There we go. Okay, this is where I want to be.
Awesome. Okay.
Yeah,
I love your mic. I love the RGB. I think it looks amazing.
yeah, I like it. It fits kind of my whole
Yeah.
aesthetic because like my desk kind of is mainly like black with red accents too, so it fits that. Uh, so yeah, I'm
Fucking cool.
feeling pretty good.
I will be honest with you. I'm a bit jealous of that mic just because of the RGB.
That's kind of the
Very-
main selling point of it.
It's very fucking nice though. I love it.
Yeah, I like it too. I haven't recorded a video with it yet, so that's why I'm really hyped to hear like how it comes out and whatnot. So
Yeah.
yeah, I think we're both going through a lot of change because you're definitely not in the same part of your room as you were before.
Oh, dude, I reorganized my room to a whole new ball game. I have
Yeah.
my bed in my closet.
Oh, nice.
Yeah. I saw that from TikTok.
It's not a bad idea. I've seen that before. Like they used to. I don't remember when it was. I think I want to say it was like the 70s when it was like a thing where you would actually like have like a
Oh,
fold out
yeah, they pull it
one.
down.
Yeah.
I think they got rid of it because people died.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Yeah, I think. I'm not sure. I mean, you never know.
Could be.
Someone got smashed. I
It's
mean,
a
it's a possibility. You never know nowadays.
yeah, it is possible. That's true.
Oh,
Okay, well, this has been a good random start. So we are going to talk about a very sensitive subject today, one that I'm almost a little I want to say worried to talk about. That's exactly what I want to say actually. I'm a little worried.
yeah, I'd be
Uh
worried too. Not gonna lie.
we're going to talk about cancel culture and
And
yeah, the whole episode is going to be about cancel culture and stan culture as well. Which are two things that are very popular in our society right now.
bad, very bad.
And this is where I think I don't know how much we're going to differ. I think we will on certain things, certain parts of it at least. But I think it's good to have a discussion about it. Um,
Yeah, yeah.
so Mr. Boner Man,
Yes.
what is kind of your overall like if you were
Opinion.
let's say we're going to start with the extreme question
Okay. Okay. I am ready.
without delving into the details of
Yeah.
cancel
Hmm.
culture, yes or no?
Very no, no. Very no.
Okay,
Very, very no.
and you have to well, you don't have to explain it yet. And then stan culture, which is kind of the same thing.
I
it
mean,
it can
it.
be the same thing.
I think there's definitely levels to it. I can say that there's levels to stan culture because if you compare BTS
Hmm.
stands and like
Yeah,
uh Tommy in it stands, it's completely different. They're both fucking psychos, but they have their levels of
true.
psychology
Yeah.
craziness. Yeah, it's pretty fucked. What about you? What's your opinion on it? Well, We haven't gone into detail exactly, but
Um, without going into detail, I mean, I would. It's hard since I can't go into detail yet because we will get there. If I were to say yes or no, I'd probably say no,
no, yeah.
and I'll get into why. Or I'll be able to at least clarify what I really want to say. And then stand culture, I'd probably say if it didn't overlap with cancel culture, I'd say yeah, sure. But
Wait, yeah, on cancel culture?
huh?
Yeah, on cancel culture?
Yeah, I would say yeah on stand culture, but
Oh,
if it didn't overlap so much, but they do, they just do.
oh,
So, um, so we'll get into it though. So I think the thing for me is cancel culture definitely overlaps with stand culture because it's usually uh stands tend to partake in cancel culture a lot, but it's not only
oh,
stands, it's normal people too. It's not just these BTS fans who do this, it's everyone. So as far as like cancel culture goes, why what are the reasons that you dislike it?
the reason I dislike is because like they're fucking bandwagons. Not, I mean that's like the very fucking short answer, but like it's just a majority of them are gatekeepers. They don't want more people to come in. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Does that make sense? They don't want people to come in, and then they're very toxic about it. They'll like if you even say one like if you have one small bad opinion about it, they'll go off on you instantly. They'll say, okay, they'll get like hackers. Like for example, the BTS thing. There's a huge controversy about it because if you talk bad on BTS, they'll hack you, they'll DDoS you. You know, like they'll ruin your life
So
essentially.
you're explaining more about your no against stand culture right now.
Yeah.
Okay.
Wait, is that what we're talking about?
I asked you about cancel culture first, but
Oh
if you want to
fuck.
go into
Oh,
we can go into stand culture first since we're already on it now. So
oh.
so your thing is just like the inherent danger that has happened and could happen too.
Yeah, they've done pretty bad things. They're good people, I'd say.
Okay.
It's like I can't really explain it. There's this one streamer guy who said BTS is ass, and that's an opinion, right? I mean, it's not a
Hmm.
fact,
Yeah,
you
music
know.
is subjective in the first place.
Exactly, but then they went off on him. They DDoSed him. I think they went through his emails. They tried to expose him, but then that wasn't real. They try to like fake so much stuff just to cancel him. That's cancel
Yeah.
culture. Just because of his opinion, and that's why I don't like stands in general. Just because, again, that goes with the cancel culture. They'll try to do whatever they want for the person they're standing for to
Hmm.
come come.
Where do you think such an affinity for a specific group of people or people in general comes from? Because there is a difference between just being a fan of someone and then it's a whole different thing to be a stan. Like I'm a fan of many people either in YouTube space or music or wherever,
Yeah,
but I mean I'm not to the point where if someone says, "Oh, I hated this song," obviously I'm just gonna be like, "Okay, well that's your opinion."
it's your opinion.
Sure.
Yeah, music.
So where do you feel like I think my thing is, or I guess what I'm trying to say is that's what I've always been curious about. Oh, hold on. Did I do something? Okay, I accidentally turned my headphone thing down while I was reaching back there. I thought I muted myself. I've always been so curious. Where does this start? You know, like how does someone get so enthralled in, especially like BTS and K-pop? I mean, like how do people get so enthralled with uh these groups of people and specific people too to where they literally
They will
commit
like
crimes against people who just simply don't like their music. I mean, DDoSing and all that, like that's crime.
fucking horrible. Yeah, you'll go to fucking prison
It's
for
literally
that, dude, for
criminal.
years. Yeah. I mean, I honestly think it comes from like a lack of socialism, like not social, you know what I mean? Like social,
Socialism, a lack of
like
taxing the rich.
but I think it comes from a lack of social interacting with like actual people, because like you know how, for example, some people come to Discord, they join a server,
Hmm.
and then they'll like become friends with those people, but not have friends IRL.
Yeah.
I think it's kind of that in a way. And then you meet those people and then have the same opinions about you, and then like you leave your old friends for internet friends. You know what I
Hmm.
mean? And then that's when it comes to a toxic environment thing, because they're like, oh, this and that. Oh yeah, talk to each other good, you know.
Yeah.
But like, I think that's where it comes from. I think it comes just from like lack of being social and being just not in like not what's that word called? Not moving forward with your life, like not doing anything with your life, and you get like so caught up in someone else's life, or like the band, like BTS again.
Yeah.
You'll get so caught up in their life, you'll be like, okay, they're my life, you know,
Yeah, and
if
I
that makes
think
sense.
yeah, I think that's kind of what I think too, is it's a way for people to feel like they're a part of a kind of bigger congregation of people who are, like-minded in the sense of they like this specific person or group.
Yeah,
And like it's not that I don't understand that, and I certainly feel like, being a fan of someone and interacting with a community of people that do, I mean, that's healthy, but like is a level where
there's a
it gets a
limit, you
lot.
know. Yeah,
And
there's a limit.
um like I feel like I guess I didn't really touch on what I asked you about, like how what you felt too. And like my thing is with stan culture is like I'm not against people being fans of others. Oh, nice hand or arm reveal from someone else. Um is that like I don't feel that being a fan of someone is wrong. It's just not. But there is a level where it becomes either unhealthy or it becomes just almost like not okay, and obsession. And part of it is like, I don't know, I've always thought it's a little weird when people like make their profile pictures, these people, whether it's K-pop or whoever, or Minecraft, YouTube or whatever, and it's like it's it making their profiles that, so you literally like your comments are just a sea of people who look like the person that they're commenting for. And in everything that they post is about this, that, and the other thing. It's like, do you have anything else that
Like,
other
yeah,
than
so that's where
that?
you ask them, do you have a life? You know, like
Yeah.
besides this, do you have a life? You know, I mean, yeah, yeah. Like yeah, I agree with you. When it comes to that, I know there's like a people that just put it as like their profile picture and just leave it at that.
Yeah, and I mean, like that alone, it's just more of like a. I think it's weird when it seems like that person's like whole personality is literally just
It's just
liking this one thing,
exactly, yeah,
and that's really unhealthy
yeah.
for, especially if you're younger. That's especially really unhealthy for your development too.
Oh yeah,
And
you'll start relying on these people for advice, and then
yeah, if they quit
and
YouTube, what are you like? Are you gonna have like a mental breakdown?
you're like, what are
Like,
you gonna do? You know,
yeah, and it's a thing. So that's what I think worries me the most, is more of like a, how many of these people, because I mean K-pop stands and other stands, I feel like the demographic, from what I can tell, is mainly like minors that are
yeah,
stands of people. And that's, it's just, I don't know, it's hard. I would hate it if I had a following and
that
people like
toxic.
every other profile picture I saw was like a picture of me. Be like, that's really weird. Like, you're not
Yeah,
me. Because
because if you had a huge following, you'd want them to just be themselves, right? Not fucking
yeah,
be like they would, like you wouldn't want to be their god, you know?
exactly. Because I'm not. I mean, like literally, like I'm just a dude who works full time, has almost two kids and a wife, and I do this on the side. And I'm not saying I'll ever get to that point, but it's just more of a, you know
A hobby.
well, the other issue with that too is that when you have this, and I would consider that the people who do like the DDoSing and whatnot are the minority of the stands, and I think I have to recognize that it's the minority. It's not the majority of people who are
Yeah,
stands are engaging in criminal behavior, basically. But when you are doing that stuff, and all your profile pictures are of BTS or whoever or Luna or whoever the fuck that is. I don't know. Don't come for me, please. Um, when that happens, you're making those people look bad because you're
Oh,
now the embodiment of this person's audience, and it doesn't make them look good. And
they won't grow because of you,
yeah,
basically. Yeah, they're not gonna. They're just gonna see it as, oh, he's toxic because they're toxic.
exactly. And
Hmm.
that's another facet of it is there's a lot it's stan culture is very complex,
Oh yeah, yeah.
and the repercussions of it being toxic when it is, like
Hmm.
I said, it's a minority of people who are
Yeah,
toxic about it.
yeah.
But when those minority are being toxic, one, we already know, or anyone should know, that bad news gets around way quicker than good news. It just
Oh
does,
yeah,
and way wider. So
yeah.
people are going to see this one thing and be like, these people must suck because they're not saying anything about this happening or doing anything. And I don't see a lot about BTS because I luckily, I'm pretty sure my Twitter is good from
Have you heard
BTS
about
crap.
the Have you heard about the David Dobrik thing?
I have. That
The
one's an interesting
whole.
one.
I think
It,
it's very interesting. Yeah.
yeah,
How
we could talk about that because it kind of goes into it too a little
Yeah.
bit. Well, it's cancel culture, so we'll get into that after the stan culture stuff
Yeah.
and bring up examples. But yeah, I mean, my thing is, I don't even remember where I was. This is good podcast, good stuff. I don't remember where I was. I think there was I see this a lot with specifically dream stands, I feel like, or Minecraft YouTuber stands, only because I'm exposed to that more
Yeah.
with who I follow on Twitter and blah blah blah. And it's turns into an issue because people do get upset at Dream for not saying something, or
I
I
mean, his
want
stands are ass, dude.
I could be wrong, but I feel like from what I've heard, and so this
Hmm.
is not official, this is just like from what I heard or hearsay, is that
Yeah.
at some point Dream said something about his stand saying like that he couldn't control what they did. And I'm sorry, but it's kind of not true.
He can. If he just tells them to shut the fuck up, they'll shut the fuck up.
Well,
But then they
and
won't like him at the same time.
yeah, and I think it's, if he just got on a video and said, "Listen, guys, I enjoy that you like my content. I enjoy that I make you happy. But this, and this thing with like screenshots of what he means, maybe to make it clear, like, this is not okay and I don't condone this and don't ever
Yeah.
do this." Like, that could help. And that's part of where, like, I don't like to say that in stand culture that the people who are being stand are the issue, because they're not in the grand scheme of things. But there are things that I think could be done more to prevent the toxicity or the criminal activity too that happens. And because I think stan culture in itself isn't a horrible thing, because it's not bad to
To
heavily
like
enjoy one thing or
someone.
another. It's
Yeah.
not bad, but at the same time,
There's a
one,
limit.
yeah, but there's a limit where it's, one, not healthy, and two, where it gets to the point where, like, I mean, like you said, you're talking about like criminal activity sometimes that people engage in because they're so invested in this thing.
Yeah.
And that's not it's
It's not good.
it's
Like
not
you're
positive then.
no,
And
you
I think stan culture should be something that should be a positive, you know?
yeah.
So,
Because they're basically becoming like, okay, so again, if you say something bad about K-pop, like, for example, and then the stand says like the like fucking shit talk you, like they'll say to like kill yourself, stuff like that to like the
mhm,
person that talk bad, right? But then as they do that, they're becoming as bad as the person that had an opinion about it, or even worse than that. And I think that's something they don't realize, is that they're the real bad guys at the end of the day when they do shit like that. Like they're just not, good people, and they
yeah.
don't realize that. And it drives people fucking mad when they do stuff like that.
Well, in yes, there is times when maybe someone can say something about BTS or Minecraft YouTubers or whatever that may be kind of a crossing the line type thing. That
Yeah.
certainly could happen, but I think my thing is that what people, or at least stands to understand, is that music was made to be subjective. Okay,
Exactly.
you don't listen to Slipknot. I'm sure you don't. If you listen to BTS, I like Slipknot. You like BTS. You may not like this, that, or the other thing. I could care less if you like Slipknot. I don't care. I like
I
them
feel
as a
like I
band.
feel like I feel like they'd say like, "Oh, but this Slipknot's ass anyways, you know, it doesn't
Yeah,
really
and I
matter."
mean
Yeah.
too. I feel like I've heard that the K-pop industry is practically like slave labor. So like,
Oh, yeah.
I mean, it
Their
just it feels off. And they have
their
don't they have
managers
like
are fucking horrible, dude.
well, I
Like
think
they'll
they have
treat
like
their
star
stars.
camps where they like mold
Yeah.
you into being a star. Like that's not
They'll
healthy
like
either.
yeah, they'll be their managers will verbally abuse them, I guess, to do whatever they want because if you like
Yeah,
most contract deals with K-pop stars and their managers are so fucking horrible. It's like really it'd be like 30 or 20 goes to the star and then like the rest just goes to the manager. That's how
yeah,
fucked up it is sometimes depending on like how big the star is,
yeah,
you know? Yeah.
yeah. And I mean, I haven't really, that's a thing too, is like that needs to be like
Figure it out.
you're promoting that, in my opinion, when you're, a BTS stan. I can't say if BTS is part of that issue, but I feel like a lot of these K-pop stars probably don't even see your shit because they probably aren't even allowed on social media.
Either that or they
Yeah,
just don't really give a fuck. And that's one
yeah,
thing too. Sometimes the person you look up to cannot be the person they show on screen.
exactly. And
And then that
that,
could be a giant letdown for you.
yeah, I had that big letdown with the Call Me Carson situation.
Oh
That
yeah,
was
I
a
remember he
huge
talked about this.
letdown.
Yeah, it was
Yeah, I
fucking
was
bad.
actually like pretty upset by that because he was like my favorite YouTuber at the time.
Yeah,
Um, I just his humor was like exactly what I thought was funny, so I totally like related to everything.
yeah.
And then with all the stuff that came out, I'm like, really?
Like just
Like,
yeah, just to find out he'd do something like that, you know, it's
yeah.
disappointing.
Well, yeah, and so I was disappointed by that, but I mean that, yeah, I don't know. We'll get into cancel culture and I'll talk about that a little bit more in a little bit. But um yeah, I mean I think my thing just for stan culture in general is I wish it was healthier for people, as far as socially, because
Yeah,
it is cool to talk to people online, but there is a level of like understanding. You don't have there's no nonverbal communication in text form, and
mhm,
nonverbal communication, in my opinion, is honestly a bigger part of communication than actually talking,
yeah,
because you get to know, is that person upset? Are they happy? Are they high? You don't know, right? So it's a thing where you're not learning that over the internet. So there has to be a healthy balance there.
yeah.
And I just don't see that all the time. Once again, I'm talking about the minority of people who are super toxic about it, or who literally like practically devote their lives to these people. Like, especially when you're in your formative years of like 13, 14, like that's really bad for your.
That's when it affects you the most.
But no, we can go into the cancel culture side of things, because I feel like that's kind of a broader and bigger issue in my opinion, and stan culture is kind of a plays into it anyways.
Yeah. Yeah, because I do want to talk about the David Dobrik thing, because you've heard
Yeah,
about the David Dobrik thing.
I
Basically, if you haven't
have.
heard about the David Dobrik, yeah, if you haven't heard about the David Dobrik thing, the people watching, basically how behind the scenes, Trisha Paytas talked to H3H3 about this on his podcast, saying how much of an asshole David Dobrik is to his friends behind the scenes, and if they do something bad, he'll kick him out literally for talking bad on him or just not following what he wants to do, stuff like that. So, like for example, he had a right, let's for example, if he made a video of him fighting a fucking bear, or he wanted his friend to fight a bear, and he wouldn't do it, he'd be like, "Oh, you're not a good friend. You know, you're out of the lock squad," right?
Mhm.
And where that comes into play is how his fans reacted to that because they're like, "Oh, David would never do that. David's a good guy.
Yeah.
If you
Well,
talk
there
bad
there
on
was
David, he'll fuck
another
you up."
accusation too. Was he made a video a few years ago where he told one of his friends that they were gonna have Corinna dress up as an old man. and that his friend was going to make out with Corinna in the old man costume. Well, turns
Yeah.
out Corinna was actually Jason Nash, and it was a
Oh,
prank thing. And so like he's making out with Jason Nash, and now dude's like, yeah, that was like sexual assault legitimately because I didn't know and I didn't consent to kissing Jason Nash, which it is true. I mean that kind of is sexual assault. It is. Whether or not I totally believe that he didn't know, I can't really say
you
because
can't
I have
say
a
it.
hard time believing that most of those videos aren't scripted. Honestly, I have a hard time believing that. I mean, I don't know. It could be whatever,
The guy
but
did leave though. I mean, he
he
hasn't
did.
returned back to another thing.
Yeah, which is true. So I can't say too much about whether it's, true or not or whatever, and that's not really my place either. It's more of just I have doubts about whether pranks are actual pranks on David's channel.
Yeah.
Um, but yeah, I mean, that's the thing though, is people reacting to it and being like, hey, David is a good guy. He's obviously a good, kind soul and would never do anything to cross anyone. Like, you don't know David
You
Dobrik.
don't know him behind the scenes, baby
No.
girl. You don't know if he's a fucking liar, baby girl. You
Yeah,
don't know. You don't know
exactly.
anything.
Yeah, and I mean, my thing is, I don't doubt that these things could have happened. I'm not about to say that David is some evil
Saying,
monster behind the
oh,
scenes.
yeah.
Like, yeah, he probably could have done some dickhead things. It
For all we know, he
happens.
could be the devil himself, and we would never know.
Yeah, he could literally be, yeah, he could be Lucifer, you know.
And we would never know. He'd be fucking making these deals, signing checks, fucking give me your soul, and
Yeah,
all
Ian,
that
Ian
stuff.
from SeatGeek is quaking right now. He just
Fucking
is.
shivering, bro.
So, but well, and my thing too about it is one that, whether it's true or not, I don't doubt that it's true. But um, the other thing is, I mean, when it comes from like Trisha, I'm like, I kind of take it with a grain of salt because it's kind of been documented that she's a somewhat
Of
of a manipulator too.
I
And so
mean,
I highly doubt that. I don't think she has the best track record either. And this is not to say that like, oh, don't believe these people when they're saying this. It's more
these
of
are the
a like, I don't
be
believe
wary.
that. Yeah, I don't believe that she is just like some innocent 0% victim in anything that
She
happened.
she has changed her life around though. I mean, you've seen how she is now. She's like,
Yeah,
she's married to Asia. She's brother for some fucking reason, which is insane to me. Because
yeah,
you would never know. But
hmm,
I'd say she has changed from the person she was to a better person now.
yeah,
But she still has that kind of attitude, like don't that kind of that attitude. I can't really explain the Trisha Paytas attitude.
yeah,
But the thing about what you just said though, I'd agree with you on that, except for the part where it's because that one dude what was his name, Kevin Nash,
no,
the person that got kissed, the guy that kissed the old man
Jason
costume,
Nash, Jason Nash.
Jason Nash, yeah, the person who kissed Jason Nash, uh, he came out to say that too. But at the same time, there's a rapper, Big Nick. He
Hmm.
was in the vlog squad too, and uh it was pretty fucked up because he even said the same thing because apparently David Dobrik made fun of his height because he has a condition
Hmm.
like dwarfism. I think, I don't know if it's dwarfism.
Yeah, that's usually what it's called.
Yeah, he made fun of him because of that. I think he said his rap was fucking bad and that he was a shit person. And I think it was just because Big Nick didn't want to do something with him for one day. I think something like that. I'm not too sure, but
Yeah.
or something like that.
Yeah, and I think I want to say Dirty Dom or whatever his name was. I think he came out with the thing too. I didn't watch it. I've only seen like a small clip of it. So I don't know what he said, but yeah, I mean, it's tough because you watch like the vlogs, like the daily vlogs, and you kind of think it seems like everything is sunshines and unicorns, and you can't believe that that's how it is 100%. And at the same time too, there is business involved. It is a business too. So sometimes
Yeah.
you have to, separate yourself from this, that, or the other person. Now, the way you do it is important. If you could do it a respectful way, be like, hey, I just don't really feel like you fit into our videos right now, so I'm gonna have to stop including you for now. And that would be a respectful and okay thing to do. But yeah, I mean, if he's going and talking shit about people, that is an issue,
Yeah,
obviously.
because
So
this is my comparison. Like you said, you can either say, "Oh, I don't feel like you fit in," or you can do the David Dobrik way. Fuck off, bro. I don't want you here anymore.
yeah,
You know.
I'm gonna take my Tesla back. I'm gonna make you pay the lease. Yeah. Yeah, I can't say I know a whole lot about the David Dobrik thing, and really honestly, up to this point, I had only heard the sexual assault part of it, accusation, which it wasn't really an accusation. I mean, it's kind of there for
It
people to see.
happened. It's
um,
there. There's
no,
evidence.
because so at this point, the only debate is whether he didn't actually know for sure or not. But I'm not gonna. We don't have to delve into that because it's not like we know. Um,
Mhm.
but like, and like I bring up earlier, the Call Me Carson situation, I kind of wanted to talk about that for a second because that was probably my first like specific experience with cancel culture with someone that I like knew, or like,
Yeah.
I didn't personally know him, obviously. I'm talking like I knew who he
You
was really
tuned
well.
in all the time. Yeah.
Yes. And so that one kind of hit me too. Um, and there, it was very complex as well. Yeah. um, yeah, I don't know, man. Because it was hard too because like information came out in like a staggered way where like there was a little bit that came out and people reacted that and then more came out
Yeah. And then
specifically from
Carson said
friends.
it himself.
Huh?
And then Carson said it himself. Like he himself said what happened.
I don't believe he
Mhm.
ever
No,
addressed anything on Twitter or anywhere. He like just fell off the face of the earth practically.
he didn't say anything.
No. Now there were screenshots of him saying in like Discord to his friends, admitting that what
But
happened
he
had
didn't.
happened.
He didn't he say he was gonna go get help on Twitter?
No, there's nothing.
He did, dude. I
So
saw.
I could have swore I never saw anything.
Oh, his Twitter's private.
I follow his private Twitter, but still I don't think anything was ever said. But
Yeah, maybe you're
um
right.
but that was a weird thing because then I started watching his friends kind of one by one coming out with things.
Yeah,
And the one that got me the most, I think, was the J Schlatt video, but he made it on his Weekly Slap YouTube channel instead,
yeah.
because that's for more of his serious stuff. And the way he was explaining it, um, it made everything make sense, really. And it also, one, corroborated what all of his other friends were saying, and I mean, there was plenty of evidence there. He knew what he did was wrong. Now, what I wanted to bring up with this situation, or why I wanted to bring up the situation, is because my take on cancel culture as a whole is that we it it's not done in an effective and correct way at all.
Yeah.
Is one, I'm a person who believes that people deserve, depending on what happened, deserve a second chance, or deserve a chance at rehabilitation
Well, I
and
mean,
being able to come
do you really
back.
do? Do you really? Oh, wait. To Carson in general, or like in
In
general?
general,
Oh,
like, and I like that's why I preface it with depending on what happened.
yeah,
There are times when I get upset with people making it very clear that like this person's never going to have a career again in this space, which I totally 100% believe with Carson. Now, and that frustrates me, not because what I'm saying he did wasn't cancelable, or at least, but my thing is that I don't see why he couldn't get help, understand what he did, take some time, and then he could eventually be a good, caring, responsible person in the YouTube space. And overall, that would make the YouTube space better. If
yeah.
instead of just taking this person and throwing them away. Now, There are times, obviously, when I think someone's career should be ended. There are times like that. Personally, I'm very surprised Logan Paul's is still going after Suicide Forest. I
Dude, I
cannot
mean,
believe that dude is still like here,
I,
you
I
know?
understand that because that was fucking horrible. He was laughing. He said that it was his coping mechanism, but I fucking doubt it. But
No,
I think underneath Logan Paul is a good guy because like he's changed from that. I don't know if you've watched like his podcast
yeah.
Impulsive. Uh, he's different. People are starting to like him now. Like even like I had a friend who hated Logan Paul so fucking much with his whole life,
Hmm.
and now he hates him less because of how he changed. But now he hates Jake Paul because Jake Paul's a
Well,
fucking
everyone fucking hates
yeah.
Jake Paul, dude.
No one likes Jake Paul. He's
Yeah,
fucking dickhead, fucking cockhead.
yeah.
Yeah,
Well, so my thing about the Logan thing, right, is the
yeah.
reason why I didn't see why it was necessary for him to have a career after that. And I'm not going to talk about the laughing thing because it is true that people do take
Do that.
comedy and laughter to cope with things, especially traumatic situations. So
Yeah,
I'm not going to doubt that that's possible. But where I have an issue with it is the fact that one, the video was even released in the first place. He was big enough to where he had a team of people who work on his videos. So he
they
had
could
an
have cut it out.
editor who had to edit that fucking video and
Yeah.
blur it, who had to look at that shit and blur it. Cause you know, goddamn Logan Paul ain't editing his fucking videos, at least
Oh
at that
no,
time. Just
dude.
not happening. So not only does the editor have to go through that shit, but then someone has to okay it for release, most likely. And my thing is, it went through however many eyes, and no one, including Logan Paul himself,
No
said
one thought it was
maybe we
wrong.
shouldn't put this either in the video or maybe we shouldn't upload this. But they
Yeah.
did it anyway, and they also clickbaited the fucking body in the original thumbnail.
Really?
Yes, like
I don't remember that.
yeah, they did. And that's why I'm like there that's why I had an issue with it, you know? And then he gets to take what like a month off, do some in my opinion half-assed fucking suicide awareness video and then just never has to do anything again. Nothing at all.
Yeah.
Doesn't ever need to talk about it again.
He
He's
didn't really have
not
a consequence. He just kind
and
of
it
went
pisses
on.
me off because I'm not going to say that, you know, for all I know the dude could be donating millions to charities about suicide prevention. I don't fucking know. I'm only going off of what I've seen, and like I don't get it. That was one of those instances where I'm like, why is this dude still here? Why?
Yeah. Yeah.
And I get that he's like different now and doesn't make the same content and isn't like a fucking douchebag anymore, but it's hard for me to feel like that was deserved a second chance, but like the Carson thing didn't. Because in my opinion, the suicide thing was 100 times worse.
Yeah.
And not saying that the Carson thing wasn't bad, and it absolutely was
He,
wrong,
I mean,
but it wasn't nearly the same
as
level,
bad as
in
yeah.
my opinion. But the Carson ain't ever gonna fucking come back. It's just not
Yeah,
gonna
he's not
happen.
coming back. I feel like his
It's not.
anxiety just kind of keeps him back too. So I think he knows not to come back.
Yeah, exactly. And I think that that's what frustrates me and why my stance on cancel culture is that it can be used for good reasons.
Yeah.
Obviously, Logan Paul absolutely fucking deserved it. And there are times when people absolutely deserve it.
I think it's because cancel culture wasn't really a thing till 2020 to 2021. Because back then it'd just be, yeah, you would cancel someone, but like it wouldn't be enough to the point where it didn't like leave a scratch on them. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Because I feel like if that would happen now, he'd definitely be canceled for it. But at the same time, he had such a huge fan base where it just kind of flew over and went away.
Yeah. And that's the same thing with like the David Dobrik thing right now. You ain't going to cancel David Dobrik. You're just not. It's not going to happen.
Yeah, unless you find actual sufficient evidence that he actually did and say all that stuff, then nothing
Yeah.
that's gonna happen.
Yeah.
Oh,
And so, but I think that's just my thing is just like it can be done for reasons that make sense. I also don't know why like Keemstar's a person on the internet still, but
Oh,
somehow
he
he
said
is.
the N word, bro.
Bro, well, he explained that and it was kind of a stupid complaint, being like, well, I was in character. It's like, well, you
He's,
weren't like in character in like
well,
uh a play about slavery. You weren't in Django Unchained filming a movie.
well, I
You
mean,
were
if you
just like you
think
just
about
dropped
it,
it.
right? I know what you're saying, but like at the same time, there's actors that said it that have been white,
Yeah, and
and
I'm
I
saying it's not okay. The only time that a white person should ever be able to say that word, in my opinion, is like if the context is like, I am literally in a play about slavery, and it's like important that if I want any, like it's a historical thing at that time, that's different than just saying it to say it.
that is
It's
true.
and that's what Keemstar was doing. He wasn't having a lecture about slave and slave master whatever. That's not what was
He
happening.
just
He
said it.
was,
Oh, so his character was just like
oh, but
that.
my character like to talk shit. Like, dude, that's not an excuse by
Oh, I
any
see what
means.
you mean now. Yeah,
Yeah, and that it's just not. And there's also plenty of other shit we don't even have to get into that just I don't know how that dude has a platform still. But I think it's because
drama, bro.
there's the edge
I
lords
think it's
like him.
because I think it's just because Scarce isn't here anymore. Scarce is gone.
Who even needs YouTube drama?
Bro, as much as I fucking hate being a fucking gossip, like I don't gossip. Like as much as I hate like drama and stuff, like sometimes it's fucking like interesting.
Sometimes it is. I'm not saying that it's not entertaining. I'm just saying that like at the end of the day, like why do I need to know that this YouTuber is beefing with this other YouTuber?
Yeah.
I
But
don't. You make videos, dog, on YouTube. It's not. It should never be that deep unless it's like something like they're breaking the law or some shit, or saying racial slurs, whatever. Like I don't care. Other than that, I shouldn't. You shouldn't have to care. But um, I don't know. It's a hard subject, I guess. Um, but I think there are times when it's deserved, and there's times when it's not deserved.
yeah.
And I'm trying to think of times when it like was not deserved. And I'm not saying that Carson wasn't deserving of he was deserving of accountability. That's for damn sure.
Yeah.
And like being like, I'm gonna fix this shit because he clearly had an issue. And
He didn't fix it though. He fucking lied. He's a
yeah,
liar.
yeah, and so that's a thing. So there's that. I'm trying to. Do you have like an example of like times when like it didn't make sense?
The comedy Carson thing.
No, like when cancel culture, when you like saw someone get canceled and you're like, why are they even being canceled?
I'm pretty sure you're not gonna get like. I'm pretty sure you don't know about this, but there's an actor in The Mandalorian. The girl
The
from The
the
Mandalorian.
Gina Carano or
Yeah,
whatever her
the
name
Gina
is.
Carano. Yeah, how she got canceled. I understood.
Yeah,
It was pretty stupid. I mean, her what she retweeted was stupid as fuck because it was pretty much comparing Republicans or the modern day Jews
yeah,
back from like
which is dumb as shit.
that was stupid. That was stupid,
Yeah.
right? But I feel like she shouldn't have gotten canceled for that just because that you can't compare the two. There's no comparing the two. But at the same time, why would you have to like try to ruin her life even though that because it's I guess it's freedom of speech, but it's a bad one if that makes
Well,
sense.
the argument too, I think at this point also is, did they really ruin her life? Because now she's like signed
Mm,
on with the Daily Wire with Ben Shapiro, so she can be
well,
like
yeah,
making her own show there and probably making more money than she did on The Mandalorian, to be honest, because political pundits and talking
yeah.
heads, especially in the conservative space, make a shit ton of money,
Well, that's
regardless
the
if they
thing
even
though,
believe it
right?
or
They
not.
tried to cancel her, but like so many people didn't want her to get canceled because at the same time, it was a stupid reason why they were canceling her, and it was a stupid retweet to begin with. That's
Yeah,
why
and
she's not canceled because she's
yeah,
like in the middle, I'd say.
yeah,
More
and
in
I
the
mean, I don't know if I agreed with like cancellation on that side. And I think there's a difference also between cancellation and like calling for accountability.
yeah,
Like that's where it's like you should have been calling for accountability, like saying, "Girl, what the fuck are you talking about?" And like
yeah.
have her like hopefully apologize. And if she
But
doesn't
that's
apologize, then maybe kind of be like, "Hey, like what the fuck?" But
yeah,
like, you know, I think that is the difference. Is cancellation is like, I want your career to end. I don't want you to ever get a job again.
That's the thing though, because Pedro Pascal, the person who plays the actual Mandalorian, posted something like that too on his
Hmm.
Instagram. Yeah, he didn't get canceled for it, only her, right?
Yeah.
And supposedly also Kathleen Kennedy, the uh what the CEO, I guess, of Lucas. I forgot the word. She's in charge of Lucasfilm,
Yeah.
and apparently she's had it out for her since the beginning to
Hmm.
get her fired, and they just fired her off the bat. They didn't like really give an announcement or anything. They just fucking fired her,
Yeah.
and then Bob Chapek, the person who's in charge of like Disney or something like that, he wants Kathleen Kennedy to apologize for the way they fired her, but she won't do it, and they want to fire her, but she doesn't know that they want to fire her, and
Yeah.
a ton of stuff. But yeah,
Yeah.
no, the whole Gina Carano thing, I don't think she should have been canceled. I think she should just said that it was wrong to post that.
Yeah. That's kind of my, that's probably where I stand on it too.
Yeah,
Is just, you have to ask for accountability on certain things, and ask for accountability, in my opinion, first, as long as it's not an illegal thing.
yeah,
you know Ask for accountability first, and if that person isn't willing to be accountable for and apologize for this, that, and the other thing, or take the steps necessary to make it clear that they like understood what they did was wrong and move past it, or help whatever issue it was, that's
yeah. 'Cause
when
you can't compare the two. It's
yeah,
uncomparable.
yeah. So I think my thing is just, and this goes back to, like I said earlier, um like with our prison system right now, it's like I don't agree with, locking people up and throwing away the key in most cases. I think there are cases when sure, but like in most cases, like it's better for us to have people who are rehabilitated truly, and can be productive members of society, and or that can extend to the YouTube space with like the Call Me Carson thing. I think he should have been given a chance, and then he could have maybe been a productive member of the YouTube space again, and the YouTube space would have been better with him in it if
Mm.
everything was fine. And in my opinion, this is true. Not with how he was acting. I'm being clear here. If he had gotten better and improved on himself, YouTube space would have been better with him in it.
Yeah, because they always, yeah, like you said, they always like throw, like, put them in, lock them away.
Yeah.
They don't really actually try to change how they are. They just keep them in there. But at the same time, I feel like they want to keep them in there because you know how some prison inmates do work for the government, like
Hmm.
junkyards. They always like help them like throw shit away or like compress stuff like that. Like to like get like their years lower, right?
Hmm.
They I feel like they'd rather have that instead of actually spending the money to change how they are, to like how you said, to make them back into like to put them back in society.
Yeah, I agree, and I mean we won't get into it now, because if we were wanting to talk about criminal justice system, that would be a whole different podcast.
Yeah,
Honestly, um,
yeah. Plus, we've spoken about this before about like how the
yeah,
vice president apparently did something like that. She put someone in death row and made him work, and then when it was his time to come out of death row, she didn't pull him out until the work was done.
yeah. I don't know anything about that personally, but yeah,
Yeah,
I feel like cancel culture is kind of like similar to that. Is you're taking this person, seeing that they did something wrong, and instead of saying, "Hey, you need to go get help for this thing," you say, "I don't ever want to see your face on my fucking screen again," and tell them to leave
yeah.
and never
I
come back.
people are too quick to react sometimes. I feel like people are too quick to react easily. I feel like, yeah, you can be easily offended, but at the same time, you can also think like if they had good or bad intentions, then that varies also.
I
Because like
mean,
for
I'll be the first one to say, for the Call Me Cars thing, I reacted way too quickly. I
really, I thought that at first I didn't know about the whole taking advantage of a fan.
mhm,
I didn't think about that. I only thought about like the ages because I was like the ages
yeah,
aren't bad. People in high school literally date a freshman and a senior. They date.
yeah,
The people would fucking do that, and they're over here saying "call me Carson." But then I found out about the whole him taking advantage of like his fans or stuff like that. then that was like,
Yeah.
okay, that's pretty bad. Yeah.
Well, and that's the thing too, is that's exactly how it was for me, is I thought people were upset about the age gap, which
Yeah.
there were people who were upset about that, which is fucking ridiculous. And if you think
Yeah,
the age
dude.
gap was a bad thing, I'm sorry, but
You're
you're
fucking stupid as
delusional.
fuck. Yeah.
You're
People back in
delusional.
the fucking olden days used to like fucking a 53-year-old would marry like a 17-year-old.
Yeah, and I mean, not saying that
It
that's
wasn't it wasn't
okay,
good, but
but like at the same time, I mean, Critical said the same thing. Is 17, 19 is the same grade in some high schools. There are
yeah.
17 to 19
Yeah.
year olds, so that in itself is dumb, and all the people who call him a pedophile are dumb as shit too,
Yeah, they're
because
fucking stupid.
that's absolutely dumb as shit. Now, I didn't. That's all I was seeing at the start, and I was addressing that part because I'm like, this is dumb, and
Yeah.
if you're taking it just that face value, it was an absolutely like dumb situation. Now, when people started explaining that, it's a dynamic issue, I understood where people were coming from with it.
Yeah.
Now, the only issue I had with that is, what is the line? Where is the line between a YouTuber being able to date a fan, and I'm not saying that he was trying to date him, but in general, would people be upset if he actually did have a relationship with this person? Would they be upset? I don't know, but it begs a bigger conversation about where is the line between someone who has a following being able to talk or
Date
be
a fan.
romantic with fans.
Yeah.
Is it just never allowed?
I
Or
feel like they wouldn't accept it just because,
yeah,
either way, they'd assume that the fan would take advantage of the other person
yeah,
or that the yeah, it's kind of a double-edged thing, right? It's either the fan takes advantage of the content creator or the content creator takes an advantage of the fan for sexual stuff.
yeah,
So either way, it's a bit. I think I think they shouldn't even bother with that. To be honest.
yeah, for sure. It's certainly going to be easier to just distance yourself and just never deal with it. But
Yeah, exactly.
um yeah, but then I learned about that, and people were explaining it more, and I started to understand it more. And then the part that actually made me like um understand it completely was when his friends started to say stuff and started to confirm that he had known that this was going to be an issue. He knew that it was wrong, and he had
And
been
he
telling
went on
them,
with it.
yeah, and that he had pretty much been manipulating his own friends and lying to them, saying he was getting help when that just wasn't even true. And that made it very clear that like this was actually like a bad issue for this person, which is where I come into being like, we need to be like telling this person, hey, you need to go get some help and like take some time off and don't come back until you like can talk to a fucking 17-year-old girl and not be like jizzing in your pants. Like
Yeah.
that's that's where I stand with it. So yeah.
Yeah, I know what you mean. I don't agree with that whole stuff. It's fucking weird. I mean, the thing is, the most of the people that complained about it, if you ask their parents how old they fucking met, they're gonna either say 4 years, majority, in my opinion, at least. Because I don't know how old your parents got together, but my mom married my dad when she was 16. He was like 21.
Yeah.
Yeah,
My
yeah.
my parents are only a couple years apart.
Really?
Yeah.
Like how many?
Like one or two.
Really, dude?
Yeah.
Fuck. Maybe it's
Or,
not normal then. Holy
whereas
shit.
like my wife and I are like 6, 8 months apart.
Damn,
But
dude.
and that's where I was like kind of weirded out about when people were talking about the age gap, because I'm like, there technically was a part of our relationship where I was 18 and she was 17. And I'm like,
Oh,
so by your
that's only a
logic, I
couple
should be in
months though.
prison right now,
Yeah, yeah,
which
yeah.
is, I think we can all agree, is dumb.
You're
So
fucking stupid, dude.
yeah,
But like, I have friends who their parents are like 3 years apart, or like 4 years apart, 2 years apart, stuff like that. But like when you're older, you're like, oh, it's only 2 years apart, no big deal. But like,
yeah,
but then when you're in high school, they were like what, 15, 18, 16,
yeah, and that's the
18.
thing. It's, I mean, yeah, seniors are dating freshmen all the time. Sometimes seniors are dating fucking eighth graders, which is weird, but it
It's
happens.
pretty weird.
So
Yeah, it happens.
yeah,
Stranger Things,
yeah.
season 4, soon,
Yeah.
maybe. I don't know.
So
I hope.
do you have any wrapping up of this whole talk that you would like to do, or like closing thoughts?
Yeah, fuck David Dobrik, fuck K-pop, fuck who else? Fuck cancel culture, fuck stands. That's all I got to say to them. I don't give a fuck. They can be mad at me. They can suck my nuts.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm. There's not much about me that's very known, dude. I can't really get canceled.
Yeah, it's true.
Yeah, I'm an
Yeah.
enigma.
I think my closing argument is for stands, make sure that you have a healthy balance of stand life and regular
Oh, that's a
life.
good one. Very good one.
Um, Make sure that you're not committing criminal acts because someone doesn't like a song. That's not okay. And
Have common
I
sense.
hope you know that. And if you don't know that, then you need to reevaluate. And two, making sure that with cancel culture, the punishment needs to fit the crime. And
Exactly.
that's just kind of the big issue I have, is sometimes that's not true. So that's my closing thought of this conversation. Um,
Well
I don't
said, Jake.
I don't know if I
Well
want to
said.
say more because I don't want to get canceled, daddy. Yeah, so
Ah,
yeah.
well said. I agree with Jake on that. Jake explained it very well.
A little
Very
bit less
well.
cursing in mine. So
Yeah. Mine's very straightforward. I'd say just think about it thoroughly. Have actual thought into it. Think from the other think from the other person's perspective. Don't just think about your perspective because
yeah,
you're just simple minded if you do.
true. That's true.
Fucking peasants,
Also, the
plebs.
last thing I will say is that sometimes I see stands try to cancel people um, for certain things that are racially motivated. Let the people of that race that you feel like is being attacked make the decision. That's their decision if they're offended by something or not yours. So that's the other thing too. So
Exactly.
yeah, but
Fuck you.
that's going to be it for this episode. We will see you next week, and thank you for watching the Good Boys
Yeah.
podcast.
Fuck you. It's been the Good Boys podcast. Yeah. Fuck off.